This week on the Analog Circle podcast, Microsoft decides not to raise the price of Xbox Live. A new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic could be in development. Ninja Gaiden creator Mr. Tomonobu Itagaki, I know I said his name wrong, but I'm trying here. He wants to work with Xbox, and we get a little more proof that the rumored Metal Gear Solid Remake could be happening. All of these stories can be found here and more in episode 161 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I want to say welcome and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the podcast. Now, you listening right now, you the listener, if you want to be a part of the upcoming episode of listener feedback, if you want to say a couple of words and let your voice be heard, you can do that two different ways. You can either call in at 443-216-9934, or you can email the show, and the email address is, but of course, the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. And if you want to listen to some previously recorded episodes of the podcast, feel free to type in the Analog Circle Podcast into Google. It'll take you to where you need to be, and you know the rest, and enjoy yourself. Now, I have to say, starting off this week's episode, I have been playing Cyberpunk 2077 on the Big Bone. On the Xbox One Big Bone Edition. We talking about the launch VCR looking joint. I've been playing it on there, and I have to say, listen, brothers and sisters, yeah, the game has a few problems. It's a couple of hiccups in there, you know, a couple of frame rate dips and all of that stuff. But I have to say, now I want to put a caveat out there. I bought the game for $34.99 over at Best Buy. And when I bought it, the game also came with a steel book case. So I'm feeling pretty good. I got the game half off. So I want you guys to understand and take it from that perspective of what I'm about to say. I was not an early adopter. I didn't have to deal with all of the bugs and all of the problems that the game had during that launch week. And I've had, so far, a doggone good time. I'm talking, man, actually, I have had a really good time with Cyberpunk 2077. Like I said, once again, $34.99. Some patches have been done already. Matter of fact, they did say patch 1.1 is giving some problems with one part of the game. I forgot what it was, but just be on the lookout for that. But for me, personally, I've played through the whole epilogue or the introduction or whatever, and I'm going to tell you, I have been hooked. This game has its hooks inside of me. I've made it to Johnny Silverhand. I've made it up to that point. I'm seeing that character. I don't think that's a spoiler because we all knew that he was a main, well, maybe not a main character in the game, but a big part of the game, Johnny Silverhand. And I'm going to tell you, man, outside of the frame rate problems, this is still a very good looking game, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Yes, it is choppy. It has some moments where you can see pixelation, and some of the words on some of the buildings look really bad, doesn't look good, doesn't have that crisp, clean lines to it. It's struggling, but once again, I'm on the Big Bone, the Xbox One original. I'm playing this on, and I'm going to say the story has really, really intrigued me in this game. The different characters, the character development, the story that's happening now since I'm out of the introduction stage of the game. God, dog, it opened up something I just wasn't expecting. No spoilers here, not at all. But man, the game has been a ton of fun. I wasn't expecting for the gameplay mechanics, like the shooting mechanics, to be as fun as they have been, because it's kind of like a RPG, but it doesn't control like a RPG. Yeah, some of the enemies, I mean, you got to shoot them quite a few times, and you know, you see the numbers popping up and all of that stuff on top of their head, but just the other gameplay mechanics, I remember I ran out of ammunition. And you can do this thing where you hit the LB button, the left bumper button. You pull up this menu and you can actually hack into some of the enemies. And I was out of ammo. And I was like, man, well, shucks, I'm going to try it. I hacked into one of the NPCs, one of the guys that was shooting at me. And I was able to overload his circuit breaker or whatever. And boom, he died on the scene. Couldn't believe it. It was awesome. I mean, I have just had a really good time and I still don't understand. Once again, I'm coming into this after the game has been patched. This is not day one. So once again, my opinion could be skewed a little bit, but I do not get the huge backlash on this game. I mean, this has been a fun game. If you were interested in it, if it was something that you were thinking about picking up, once again, got it for almost half off. I would still, even at $60, I don't think I would feel like I got gypped off. I think this story, I'm not saying it got blown out of proportion, but I think that it might have got a little blown out of proportion. Now, granted, people might have had their expectations. I mean, super high. I mean, overly high, to the point where the game would have never been good enough to have met their expectations, because the expectations for that particular person could have been just that high. But for me, and this is once again probably what factors into how I'm looking at the game, I've heard such bad things about it, horrible, horrendous things about it, that I went into it thinking this game is not going to be playable. It's going to look completely, just utterly shot. As far as graphics go, it's not even going to come close to what they were showing. This is just going to be almost an abysmal playing and looking game. And when I booted it up, I have not seen that. I've been having so much fun. The character models, when you see them up close, they're not like as crispy clean or clear as like a 3090 or a 3080. I mean, come on, I'm on the big bone. Remember, people, the big bone. And overall, this game has been fun. I would recommend it. If you can get it cheaper than the $60, if you're still apprehensive and you're like, I don't know if I want to go that far with it, I can tell you that $34.99 that I spent on it, well worth it. $60 for me, this game would have been worth it. And I know I have to be at least a solid, I'm going to say I have to be at least 6 hours in, 6 or 7 hours in. So it's not like I've been just playing around for a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. I have really been sitting down with the controller, getting it in. And this game has been a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect game, but God dog, man, that story, that gameplay, like I said, the character development, the voice acting, man, shucks, I've been having a blast. I'm telling you, don't believe all of these people. Some people, look, granted, they could have been outraged and genuinely upset. I'm not saying they weren't. But for me, again, I don't understand. This game is so good, and I have been addicted. I mean, I've been playing it all weekend. It's the only thing that I've played. I was playing it so much I had a dream about the game, god dog, and I was in Night City, man. Just roaming around. Just having that much fun. But that's me. That's me. I might be the exception. I'm not saying it like I'm special, because I darn sure ain't. But the game just really, man, it hit a chord with me, brothers and sisters. It really did, and I've been enjoying it. I would recommend, man, hey, man, jump on board. Jump on board. Check it out for yourself. Like I said, if you can get it on a sale, get it on a sale. But game has been great, man. Anyway, I've talked about Cyberpunk, god dog, on there 10 minutes here. It just really left a real positive outlook on the game for me. I've enjoyed it, man. And once again, I can only imagine that it has to play so much better on the Series X and on the PlayStation 5. If I'm having a good time with it on the big bone Xbox, then I'm telling you, if you could get it on the 5 or the Series X, man, I'm sure you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna be just fine. But anyway, enough of that, man. Cyberpunk, I will keep you guys updated. Let you guys know if it dips off a cliff. It might. It's possible. I could be high on it this weekend, keep on playing it a couple days later. Who knows? It might all fall apart. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get into what we all come here for, guys. And that is the gaming news. And we got quite a bit of it that went down. But just keep in mind, just if you were on the fence about Cyberpunk, dog, that game has been real good. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's get into the first story. So I have to start this week's episode off with Ninja Theory, because this team looks like it's starting to rev up just a bit. I only say that because last week, the actress that plays the main character, Senua, took to Twitter to show herself in character with paint on her face. And this week, Ninja Theory revealed some in-game footage and more info on Project Mara, which let me start off by saying this tech that the team is using to replicate real life space and putting it into a gaming space, good gracious, it looks unreal. Now, this engine is on a whole other level. Now, some of the details that we got about the game is it will explore, quote, new ways of storytelling, end of quote, and will be based on a, quote, real world, end of quote, and, quote, grounded representation, end of quote, of mental terror. And the game will take place in one apartment that actually really exists. Now, let me tell you, the game was so detailed. You could literally see dust. I'm talking about dust-mites, dust on the floor when the camera was zoomed in. I'm telling you, this engine is amazing. Now, one more detail about the game is it will, quote, aim to recreate the horrors of the mind as accurately and realistically as possible, end of quote. If this game already looks this good, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Hellblade 2, that trailer was really in-game, real-time graphics. I think Ninja Theory, I'm about to go out on a limb. And matter of fact, I don't even think it's a limb. I'm going to say it. I think Ninja Theory is the equivalent of Naughty Dog. And I know some of you might say, you gotta be crazy to say something like that. Listen, brothers and sisters, If you have not seen this Project Mora tech demo that they showed off, this engine, this thing is remarkable. They had water in the sink. All right. They took the real picture of the sink with the water in it. They replicated it into this engine that Ninja Theory is working on, and it looked just like the real thing. I'm telling you, these guys are on a whole nother level. When you looked and you saw Hellblade 2, I mean, not even Hellblade 2, the first Hellblade. Think of this. They made that game on a $10 million budget. That's a AA game budget. AAA, we know that those jokers are 50, 60, 70, $100 million. What they did with $10 million, just imagine, from the original Hellblade. Imagine with a $70 or $80 million budget. Imagine what that could do for Ninja Theory. I'm telling y'all, this was so amazing to me to see, because this is their own engine. I don't know what kind of voodoo magic they got going on with this engine, but that's why I say that trailer of Hellblade 2, Senua's Sacrifice, when she started doing all of the chanting and the face paint, you can see her mouth moving and I mean, just the crazy graphical detail on her face. Brothers, sisters, I'm telling you, this engine, as good as it looked, it truly made me a believer. Now, once again, maybe this is just crazy smoke and mirrors with this. But I'm telling you, if you see it, if you see that demo, I'm sure, or I'm willing to believe that you would say that footage of Senua's Sacrifice was in real time. It was amazing. Go over there, check that out, and just talking about this for a minute. I think this is gonna be a long episode. God dog, I was trying to get back on track to an hour, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it this week. I'm just saying, thinking about this, how they were talking about they're going to explore new ways of storytelling. Granted, this is taking place in one apartment. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know. I just don't know what that's going to be. I have no idea. But the level of detail, like I said, it was dust on the floor. You could see dust on the doggone floor. I can't really explain it. I just need y'all to go and look up this doggone demo. Look up the Project Mora tech demo and you tell me what you think. Maybe I'm overselling it here. Maybe I'm a little too hype, but it gave me a lot of hope for what Ninja Theory is going to be able to do. And who knows? Maybe Project Mora, we get more on it later on this year. Hellblade 2, we get some more information on that later on this year. Maybe these two projects, I'm not saying they're closer than we think, but hopefully we will continue to get more details, more information, and more importantly, when it comes to Senua's Sacrifice, get some real-time gameplay. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. This story, but man, Ninja Theory really got me so excited about what those guys are going to be able to do in the future. And I'm telling you, once again, man, I think they will 100% rival what Naughty Dog is able to do. I truly believe that, and I'm going to stand on that one, brothers and sisters. But we're going to go ahead and stand on to another quick news story here, because man, this is gonna be a long one. But just a quick update Sony has removed the release windows for Ghostwire Tokyo, Project Athia, and Pragmata. Now, I didn't know this until I read the Anime News Network article, but Pragmata is also coming out on Series X and PC. I truly thought that was a Capcom exclusive to the PlayStation simulator Street Fighter V. So, yeah, guys that have the Xbox Series X, you will also be able to play Pragmata as well. And you know that Ghostwire Tokyo, you'll eventually be able to play that because that's under the Bethesda banner, and it'll probably be in Game Pass day one when it hits the Xbox Series X and the S. And Project Athia, we won't see that for quite some time because that is an exclusive. But it's interesting that they have removed the release windows for these three. That could possibly mean that they won't be coming out in, I think Pragmata was supposed to be in 2022 or 2023. Athia might have been in 2022, but nonetheless, these games are no longer seeing that release window, so I'm pretty sure that they are going to be a little further out. But what's also interesting about this is I thought Ghostwire Tokyo was supposed to be out this year along with Deathloop, but you guys remember last episode I was talking about Deathloop and how they didn't talk about that release date. It wasn't shown on the screen, and that kind of made me wonder, wow, is that going to come out this year? Because it was supposed to. So now it seems like both of those titles are up in the air. Oh, shucks. You know what I just thought of? You know what I just thought of? It's probably not true. I can't imagine it would be because it would be bad business, I guess, as it were. But what if Microsoft, because you know those two games are under their window. I mean, not their window, but they will be under their banner as soon as the ZeniMax deal closes. Bethesda and all of their studios are now under Microsoft's in their camp. What if they decided, hey, you know what, man, hold up. Let's revisit this for a second. Let's hold off. Let's see what we can come up with. Maybe, just maybe, we might want to have these on our platform first. I doubt that. I know it's paperwork that these guys have signed off on. I'm sure it's a clause in there that says that they wouldn't be able to do that, but I don't know. I just find it very interesting, and I'm not trying to start any theories or anything like that because I truly don't know. I'm just spitballing and guessing here, but I mean, it would just be interesting, you know, if somewhere in there they had some kind of loophole where they wouldn't have to honor this contract. I don't know. I mean, I just think that them taking both of these off of the release window at the same time, it's interesting when we all were told that these were supposed to release this year, and maybe they still will. And maybe because of coronavirus, COVID-19, maybe they just are really, really delayed. But anyway, I don't want to make too much more out of this than I already have. Let's go ahead and jump into the next story. Now, this next story, I got to shout out Lawrence Jones for putting this story in the Facebook group. Shout out to you, brother. But Gamatsu is reporting that Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive creator, I always get his name wrong. Y'all heard me say it in the beginning. Man, god dog, this is a tough one. Tomonobu Itagaki, I got that brother last name, has established his own game studio called Itagaki Games. Now, the interesting thing with this is during an interview, he was asked, quote, what if Microsoft said they want to make your company one of Microsoft's studios? He answered by saying, quote, I established my own company, Itagaki Games, which is not Tecmo nor Valhalla. I know Microsoft is still aggressive. If they reach out to me, it will be an honor for me. End of quote. So it seems like right here, he is saying that, hey, if you guys call, hey, I could be available. I would be happy to work with y'all, because he spoke highly of Microsoft in the interview. They were asking him what made him come over, and he was just talking about, and I'm forgetting his name, golly, the founder, the real original founder. Was it Ballmer? Steve Ballmer? I think he was talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong on that, but he was just saying how he was just so involved with the process of Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive, and asking him, did he need anything, if he needed this or that. And he said, well, look, I'm going to check back on you next week. And Itagaki was saying, well, hey, ain't going to be nothing done by next week. You got to give me some time. But he overall said that his time working with Microsoft, it was very positive. He liked it over there. He enjoyed working with them. He liked the confidence that they had in him. So this could possibly turn into something, maybe. It's not 100%. I mean, who knows how Microsoft is going to view this. And of course, Itagaki, he's just getting this. It seems like he's just getting his studio established. So does he even have the time? I'm all slurring my words and whatnot. Good gosh. Does he even have the talent? Has he hired people yet for the studio? And if so, I mean, we know he's solidified, but are the guys around him going to be solidified enough to make something like a spiritual successor of another Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive, or any of the other games that he's made? Devil's Third. Man, Itagaki, you really did not hit the mark on that one, brother. That one was pretty bad. Was that on the Wii? I believe that came out, or was it the Wii U? I'm not sure, but I do know that one, woo, brother, that wasn't the answer. But it would be interesting to see what Microsoft would be able to do with this, if they would work with them, if they wouldn't, if they would try to make a spiritual successor to Ninja Gaiden, because of course he doesn't own the IP, nor does he own the Dead or Alive IP. That's Tecmo. So, I mean, we'll have to see how this comes out, really. I mean, I don't know what'll happen, but it would be great to see Dead or Alive, or like I said, a successor to it, come to the Xbox, because we know that was exclusive on the Xbox. Ninja Gaiden Black. It was fantastic games. Very hard though. Very hard games, but they were good. They were pretty good. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on into the next story. Now, in Nintendo news, if you're in need of an extra Nintendo Switch dock, Nintendo are selling them on their official US website for $59.99. Now, in this Nintendo Life article, it was explained that the dock, and this is where Nintendo on they balls all right here, the dock will not come with a AC adapter or a HDMI cable. Nintendo, come on, brothers. Come on. Here it is, you spend $60 on a dock, and you can't even throw in the AC cord or the HDMI. This is that Nintendo stuff, man. This is how me and Nintendo just fell apart. How I stopped liking Nintendo. Now, this is the thing. If you have to get an AC adapter, because it's one thing if you're just trying to get an extra one for another room, or, I mean, I don't know why you would need an extra dock unless it broke, your original broke. But if you do need one, and of course, if you don't have the AC adapter, the AC adapter costs $29.99 when you purchase it separately. And right now on the Nintendo website, it's sold out. And the website didn't even give you the option to buy an official Nintendo HDMI wire. However, on eBay, I did find a licensed Nintendo HDMI cable for $12.99. So outside of the dock of spending $60, you're going to end up spending an additional $43 for the dock. Almost as much as the dock costs by itself. You're going to spend definitely more than half of what the dock would cost just to get these two pieces of hardware that are necessary in order for your dock to work appropriately. Well, just to work, not appropriately, but just to get some use out of that mother lover. You're going to have to doggone get these two separate items. That's just crazy. Nintendo, as much money as y'all are making, and I understand business is business. These businesses don't care about us. We got to understand that and know that we're just a dollar sign walking around to these guys. But golly, Nintendo, you can't even throw in the adapter. Here it is. The AC adapter is sold out right now. So you get a dock and you don't have the AC adapter like I was talking about earlier. How are you even going to get any use out of your newly purchased dock? This is insane, Nintendo. You need to really get it the goddamn together. But they ain't. They not, because that's Nintendo. That is the Nintendo way. Nickel and diamond. I have never seen anything like it in my life. Here it is, you're buying the dock. You're not buying the Switch Lite or just the tablet part of it. You need the dock, and you can't even add in the HDMI cables and the AC adapter. God dog. Come on, Nintendo. You got to get off that bull, man. Good gosh. Anyway, let's move on into this PC Games article talking about Bayonetta director. Man, God dog. Here we go. Hideki, I got it. Kamiya. Yeah, now he said in a conversation with Hamster Corp CEO Satoshi Hamada, quote, "We've been working on new stuff like Bayonetta 3. Not that I can say too much, but I hope we can give an update during the year and give updates on a few more unannounced projects too. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but I said it anyway." End of quote. Now, Bayonetta was shown back in 2017. Now, just on a side note, Hideki was also behind Beautiful Joe. So could that be one of the unannounced projects? And he also was a lead on Okami. Now, the interesting thing about Okami was sometime last year, I believe maybe in October, it was a story that was running around with one of the ladies that was on the team of Okami, who worked on it originally, was saying that she was going to get up there to Capcom and talk to those guys about a reboot. Now here we've seen, well, not seen, but we've read that Kamiya, he said that he wants to give an update during the year, not only on Bayonetta, but he also wants to give an update on a few more unannounced projects as well. So could one of those projects be Okami or Beautiful Joe? I mean, these are projects that are under his leadership. I would absolutely love, I would tell y'all, God, dog, I would just love to see another Beautiful Joe. I had so much fun with it, and I've talked about this game so much on this podcast. I ain't even beat it. I didn't even beat the game. I gotta be honest. I ain't beat it. I just enjoyed it, man. It was so much fun with the GameCube that I got from Jeremy. Shout out to you, good brother. What's up, Jay? It was just great, man. And I would just love to see this make a comeback. Okami, I never got into Okami, but I thought it was beautiful. The water colored graphics, textures, or whatever. It was a beautiful art style. Never got into it, but I would love to see something like that make a comeback. It was so different looking. I just never got around to it. Never got to it. But we'll have to see. Hopefully we'll get these updates from Mr. Kamiya later on this year. Hopefully we'll see some more information, or at least some more footage on Bayonetta 3. And hopefully, maybe he'll be working on one of your not projects, but one of the games that you would like to see make a comeback. I mean, what's a game that Mr. Hideki Kamiya Maya has worked on that you would like to see make a reboot? I would love to hear from you. But let's move on into the next story. I might be able to get us out of here in an hour. I think we on pretty good time. But 2 weeks ago, we found out that the company that were making a limited quantity of PlayStation 5s based on the PS2 canceled them over death threats, which me personally, I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't have had no death threat stop me from getting a doggone bag, man. I mean, come on. Well, there is now an alternative option, CMP shells. Now, they are back and they have 3 designs available. By the way, they are the custom plate maker for the PlayStation 5. So their price range is from $49.99 to $69.99, and they are expected to arrive by the end of February. Now, they also said Sony, these guys talking big stuff. They said Sony can't sue them because they didn't replicate their proprietary design. God dog, they said, come at me, Sony, see what you can do. Nothing. You can't sue us. Hey, man, oh man, I wonder how Sony feels about that. God dog. Now, the designs they are selling, they're selling an all-black shell for PlayStation 5, which is going for $49.99. And I want to give you guys just a quick visual. I only brought up the PlayStation 2 PlayStation 5s because these shells, they really make the console look so good, man. It makes it look like a PlayStation 2 console. So if you really were trying to get one of those consoles, I believe they were selling for like $600 or $700. You can get that same look for a fraction of the price over here at CMP shells. So like I said, to get the black shell for the PS5, it's going to be $49.99. They also have a Kratos bundle for $69.99. Now that features the God of War Ragnarok insignia. God dog, now I don't know how they're gonna get away with that. Now I just think that might be copyright infringement. I mean, I don't know about that one, but they're talking about the God of War Ragnarok insignia and the black shell with a black DualSense controller shell for $69.99 as well. So if you want that Ragnarok joint, that'll be $70. Or if you want the black shell along with the black DualSense controller shell, that'll be $70. Now, if you're interested in this, you just go over and visit www.cmpshells for more details. And I went on there. Last time I checked, it was late last week, maybe like Wednesday or Thursday. I had went over there just to see if it was legit, and it was. And they had 1,000 left at that time, so it might be less than that now. So once again, go over to cmpshells.com and try to pick up one of them, because it seems, I don't know if they're going fast or not. Just check them out, man, if you're interested. Anyway, let's move on into the next story. Now, Star Wars news continues to pour in. Now, this time it falls on the rumor side of things. So, as always, take this with a mustard seed of truth. So, the rumor is that a new Knights of the Old Republic game is being worked on. Now, this rumor is coming from Bespin Bulletin, who is allegedly accredited Star Wars insider. Now, he said on the B.O.B., the podcast, or B.O.B. or Bob, the podcast, quote, amongst my digging, I heard there is a Knights of the Old Republic project in development somewhere. I talked to a couple of people, and I also found out that Jason Schreier said that it's not with EA, and we'll never guess who the studio is that's making this game. End of quote. Now, in this IGN article, Wushu Studios' Nate Najda took to Reset Era and said, quote, it's not as mysterious as you think. It's just not a household name most people are aware of. End of quote. So I gotta say, man, golly, Knights of the Old Republic not being developed, I mean, not so much by EA, but BioWare, because that is one of their teams under the EA banner. BioWare, the originators, the original guys. Well, I'm sure it's not the original team, but you know what I'm saying, the original name tied to Knights of the Old Republic. They are not working on this. And to add more credence to this actually being something that is true, once again, it's all rumors. Nothing is confirmed. Nobody has said that Knights of the Old Republic is really making a comeback. So we got to once again kind of just temper our expectations. But just pointing out that this guy from this Wushu Studios saying that it's not as mysterious as you think, that basically they're just not a big team that's a household name. I wonder who it could be, and if it is that small of a team, now I really gotta temper expectations. Is this gonna be a AAA Star Wars game, or is this gonna be something like even a mobile game? I mean, if it's not a household name, I'm sure there's some teams out there that are amazing that we just don't know their names. But golly, working on a Star Wars IP, especially Knights of the Old Republic, as beloved as that series is. Well, I mean, the second one, it didn't really hit, but that first one was incredible. So you mean to tell me that it's a no-name team working on this? Do you guys have faith that this game is going to come out great? I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and beat around the bush and say, I wouldn't have felt more confident in it, even though BioWare has had a pretty rocky road that they have traveled so far. I have to say, I think I would have felt a lot better with the IP in their hands, since it was something that they created and made it as popular as it is now, and how much people have wanted to see a sequel or a reboot or a remake or something to do with Knights of the Old Republic. It's something that people have been clamoring for. It's because of BioWare. And with those guys not being on this project, I mean, Ubisoft, they already got their hands tied. I can't imagine Capcom is doing anything. I can't imagine Naughty Dog is doing it. If it's this a studio that's not a household name, you can't get any bigger than Naughty Dog when it comes to that. So I don't know, guys. I don't know, man. I was very excited about this at first when I saw it, and now I'm starting to wonder and question, how big is this project really going to be? Is this going to be a AA? Is it going to be a AAA? Or is it going to mess around and be a tablet game, brothers and sisters? I don't know. But hopefully this is true. And, man, I don't even know if I hope it's true anymore. I don't know. Hopefully, if it is true, it's a AAA game from a studio. Maybe it's a Sobo. Wouldn't that be crazy if it was a Sobo Studios and that those guys do amazing work? I mean, Flight Simulator and A Plague's Tale, I wouldn't say they're a household name, a Sobo. But I don't know, man. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Who knows? Like I said, I only bring them up because they are a talented studio. Very talented, but they're not a household name. So hopefully, Knights of the Old Republic will fall with some kind of team with those kind of credentials like a Sobo. We'll have to wait and see what happens with this. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on, because this hour is creeping up real fast. We have 43 minutes already. Now, let's get into, which is, I would say, probably the biggest news of the week. Xbox, good grief, they had told everyone that Xbox Live prices were going up to $59.99 for 6 months instead of the original price tag of $39.99, and gamers were not amused in the slightest. These jokers took the social media, they took the podcast to air out their frustrations and grievances against Microsoft, so much so that Around 12:06 a.m., Xbox responded on Twitter and said, quote, God dog, they said today was not great. We always try to do our best for you, and today we missed the mark. We hear you, and we're reversing our Xbox Live Gold pricing updates. End of quote. Now, this right here, this is their official statement. They said, we messed up today. Oh, quote, we messed up today, and you were right to let us know. Connecting and playing with friends is a vital part of gaming, and we failed to meet the expectations of players who count on it every day. As a result, we have decided not to change Xbox Live Gold pricing. We're turning this moment into an opportunity to bring Xbox Live more in line with how we see the player at the center of their experience. Free-to-play games will truly be free, and you will no longer need an Xbox Live Gold membership to play those games on Xbox. We are working hard to deliver this change as soon as possible in the coming months. End of quote. Now they continue, quote, new and existing members can continue to enjoy Xbox Live Gold for the same prices they pay today. In the U.S., $9.99 for 1 month, $24.99 for 3 months, and $39.99 for 6 months, and $59.99 for retail 12 months. Thank you. End of quote. Now, this is something right here that I'm sorry, you guys might disagree with this, but I have to say, bravo to Microsoft. Bravo to them. Because it's one thing, you can say a ton of things about Xbox and Microsoft. You can say a lot. They don't have the games. How are they not going to make the games exclusive if the Bethesda deal falls through? I mean, not falls through, but they get it. How are they going to do that? You know, when are the games coming? I mean, you can come up with 100 different reasons as to why Microsoft, not as to why, but why Microsoft isn't winning. But the one thing you got to give them credit for is they listened. And once again, these corporations, we are a dollar sign to them. They don't care about us. If our mortgage is due and we don't have a mortgage payment, Phil Spencer ain't coming to your door with a check. It ain't happening. So I get that and understand that we're not these guys' friends. We're just customers who are helping to pay their bills, and in turn, they are giving us entertainment. I get that 100%. But when a corporation or, a company, they hear people upset, they're mad, they're complaining, for them to turn it around in hours, like I said, it had just officially hit Saturday. It was 12:06 a.m. And they turned around and said, look, we are not going to do this. We heard you guys. You guys weren't happy about this. This was a mistake on us. What we're doing is we're just putting all of the pricing back to how it is. And they did one better. They are going to make the free-to-play games on Xbox Live, which has been a huge complaint from plenty of people for years now. They are going to make it really free to play where you do not, I repeat, excuse me, I just belched, but you do not or won't need an Xbox Live Gold membership to play those games online. You have to commend them for that because they didn't have to do it. And just the mere fact that it didn't take days, it didn't take weeks, it didn't take months, it took mere hours for word to get back to them and them to understand that this isn't going to fly. They are upset. We're burning bridges, and this is just not a good look. This is not what we need right now. This is the start of a new generation. We're trying to get Xbox Game Pass off the ground. let's chill. Let's relax. Let's just take the pricing back to where it needs to be, and let's just walk away from this fire because this is going to burn the heck out of us. And I commend them for that, man. I think this is great. This is fantastic news. Xbox, they are listening. And if I didn't believe it, because I'm going to tell you, my stance on this was, oh, well, you know, it is what it is, you know, but my kind of stance wouldn't have had these kind of results. I figured that it was just going to go up, but people were talking about it's a bad time and the economy is tanking. Let me tell you that to me, that was a bit, I understand it. It's definitely not in a great situation, but the problem with that is, and I'm just being realistic and honest here, despite the economy being as bad as it is, gaming saw the biggest spike it has ever seen last year. During these tumultuous times of turmoil, gaming shot way up to numbers they had never seen before. And just the fact that PlayStation 5s are hard to get, Xbox Series X's are hard to get, Nintendo Switches are hard to get, I have to say and think to myself, things ain't as bad as they making it out to be. And that's probably real bad on my part. They are bad, but golly, when you see things like this, when you see gaming up the percentage that it is, and you just see how things are selling when it comes to gaming, I'm sure they sat there and said, well, golly, if the numbers are up this much, maybe this is the time to strike. Maybe we need to do something right here and right now. And thankfully, the player base, they said no. And just because people disagree, that doesn't mean that the company has to say, okay, we're going to fall back and we're going to do it. No, they could have tried their hand, see how many people were going to come along with them, see how many people would have dropped off, and then made the decision. But instead of doing that, they said, let's just drop it all together and let's just walk away. And I think that was the best thing to do. I think it was awesome. It shows once again that, I mean, hey, these are corporations, people. Nobody cares, okay? No one cares. One of the best lines I ever heard from Sonny in A Bronx Tale. No one cares. I mean, that's just how it is. These companies, they don't care. But just the fact that they did this, that does show that at least they are listening and they're cognizant of, you know, some people that depend on this. They love playing with their friends, and that's all they can afford is what the price is right now. Cause that was one heck of a hike. I mean, God dog, being completely honest, 6 months for $60, that's $120 a year coming out of your pocket. I mean, that's a lot of money, man. So just the fact that they were able to do it and, you know, put everything back to the way that it was not supposed to be, but how it originally was, that was just a good move, man. So shout out to Microsoft for that. That was good, man. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on into the next story. And once again, I want to just clarify. I know that people are out of work, man. I get it. I 100% understand that. I'm not trying to be insensitive to that. It's just, golly, how is gaming thriving so much? Because it is not a cheap hobby. Gaming is not cheap, people. $60 and $70 for games, $500 and $400 and $300 for consoles. How is it thriving so much? I understand people are home, but you gotta have the money to be able to spend on this stuff. You know, that was the only point I was making. Gaming is just up. But anyway, let me go ahead and move on. In some more news, one of the main designers behind F-Zero and Star Fox franchise, the Star Fox franchises, Takeya Amora, he announced his retirement. He said, quote, "This is my last day going to work. I took a selfie with my empty office. I guess I won't be coming in here anymore. As you'd expect, I'll miss it. End of quote. Now, he's still pretty young, man. He's 54 years old, and he joined Nintendo back in 1989. Golly, he must have did some very good stock options and a great 401k with a Roth plan. This guy had the doggone have some amazing benefits to be able to retire at 54 years old. And he was at Nintendo since 1989. Wow, that's a heck of a stint. But yeah, shout out to him. This makes me wonder what is gonna happen when Mr. Shigeru Miyamoto decides to retire. I mean, what is Nintendo going to look like with that man gone? I just always wonder about that. How is Nintendo going to well, they're going to be fine. I mean, they're going to operate just fine. But, man, I know that he's over the age of 54. Man, he's been there a long time. So it'll be weird to see what happens when it's his time to retire. But in quick news, Resident Evil, we were just talking about price points. Resident Evil Village for Series X and PlayStation 5, Capcom will be selling this game for $59.99. So no price hike when it comes to the Resident Evil Village. And I'll say, man, that demo, good grief, that was a nice looking demo. They showed off, Resident Evil during the stream that they had earlier this week. It looked good, man. It looked fine. I gotta be honest though, man, 1 minute I'm cool off it, then 1 minute I'm hot on it. I'm like, oh man, it looks good. This time I was like, oh, I don't think so. I just don't think I'm gonna be getting Resident Evil Village. I just wish it would go back to the third person view. That's all I want. The first person perspective for a Resident Evil game, it just doesn't seem like Resident Evil, but everybody that plays it, or has played 7, I should say, says that it kept that Resident Evil feel to it. So maybe I gotta give the 7th one a chance. That one's a little cheaper. Try that and see how that is, and maybe it'll win me over. But once again, $59.99 for this one. I guess it was true, because we had heard that some of these companies, matter of fact, it might have been Capcom. I don't want to say it was, but we heard that some of these companies said that they're going to play it, kind of by ear. Nothing is in stone. We'll, see what happens. We'll see what the customers, how they feel about it, and we'll, move from there. So, yeah, shout out to Capcom for keeping it at $59.99, not raising the price for the next generation. Well, the current gen versions of the game. Shout out to them. They also did say, which was also interesting, that the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 will be getting versions of the game as well. I don't think they announced when that's going to happen, but it is something that they are working on. So, man, it seems like this cross-generation development is going to be here for quite some time. And I understand that we're only in, the 3rd month of these consoles being released. But anytime you hear Jim Ryan talking about that they're going to keep supporting the PlayStation 4 for like the next 4 years or so, I mean, good gosh, that's a long time. Hopefully he just means bringing 2K to the to the PlayStation 4 and Madden. And then again, that's up to Take-Two and EA to continue to do that. But who knows, man? Anyway, let me go ahead and move on into the next story. So in more news, IO Interactive CTO Maurizio De Pascal, he said, and I quote, "It's great that the GPU in the Series X/S has hardware support for ray tracing. We've already started working on RT technology for the renderer in our Glacier engine, and once that's deemed ready for prime time, we'll definitely bring it to the Series X/S hardware." End of quote. Now keep in mind, this quote was from Xbox.com, but as it stands right now, there was no mention of ray tracing being worked on for the PlayStation 5 version of Hitman 3, only for the Series X/S. Now, the S, that's the one that really got me wondering, like, hold on, man, hold up. The S is having a hard enough time doing 1080p. You mean to tell me you gonna put ray tracing on top of it as well? I don't know about that. But it'll be interesting to see. We did see once again in that breakdown from Digital Foundry that the Series X was running at a native 4K and the PlayStation 5 was running at 1800p. So it was definitely outperforming the PlayStation 5 version. Now, we have seen that to be fair, ray tracing, this is going to be awesome when it comes to the X and the S. But we have to be fair here and remember that they also, PlayStation, Insomniac, they also implemented ray tracing in Spider-Man Miles Morales at 60 frames per second. 60 frames, and they did ray tracing. So if I had to make a guess, I would say that because IO Interactive, because of their CTO talking to Xbox.com, that's why he mentioned just the Xbox version getting ray tracing and not the PlayStation 5. I mean, it would only be fitting. I don't think they would want to have him saying what he would be able to do with the PlayStation 5 on an Xbox website. So we'll have to stay tuned and see if this does turn out to be true, where only one gets, well, not just one, but if the Series X is the only one that gets this ray tracing added on to it. And to be fair, like I said, PlayStation 5, it was running it at 1800p. It had a more solid frame rate, but Digital Foundry, they also said that was because it was a lower resolution versus the Xbox that was running at 4K native. So we'll see what happens with this, but we are almost out of here, guys. I think we got about 2 more things to cover. But in more quick news, Cyberpunk, God dog, I did not make it to the hour mark. Oh, well. Cyberpunk 2077, though, let's talk about that. I love that game, man. That game is so dope. But it has sold over 10.2 million copies, making it the biggest digital game launch of all time. 10.2 million digitally. They did say, and, you know, I got to shout out the PC guys on this one. They did say it was a pretty big number of PC downloads for Cyberpunk 2077. So, you know, shout out to the PC guys for doing what they do. It just kind of sucks that it had to be a game that didn't, well, I mean, they say it didn't come out great. I mean, the version I'm playing on the big bone, I've been having a ball, man. And I know that over there on Digital Foundry, they were saying the game was running great on PC as well. So maybe those guys, they really did get that premium experience, you know, on their PC. So, yeah, shout out to Cyberpunk for selling 10.2 million copies, even though not everybody was happy with the game. I mean, I can't see anything to justify that. You feel how you feel, and I respect that, you know, but for me, I've been enjoying it. But yeah, 10.2 million being the biggest digital game launch of all time. Shout out to them for that, CD Projekt Red. But let me see. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. We got 2 more stories to cover. So, for a bit of time, we have been hearing about a Metal Gear Solid Remake. But outside of rumors that Bluepoint was, you know, they were going to be the ones behind it, nothing has really been concrete until now. Because over on Twitter, on January 21st, David Hayter said this, and I quote, "Look who I've been hanging out with. An epic reunion with the hashtag Metal Gear Solid Cast to rock your world. Details coming soon. End of quote. And below his caption, well, the words that he wrote, he showed a Zoom image of 16 people in the Zoom call, which was just about every major actor that played a part in the first Metal Gear Solid. So could this meetup of pretty much the whole cast, well, the major players or people that played a major part in the original Metal Gear Solid, them being on this Zoom call and David Hayter talking about, details coming soon. Could this be a hint that Metal Gear remake that we have heard of for months now, could this be just a little more? Once again, I don't want to jump the gun, but seeing this, and I've kind of held off on, this story, but seeing this, I'm like, oh man, pretty much everybody from the original cast was on this call, and you're saying that something, details coming soon, the cast to rock your world. I mean, man, could this be something? Or am I just making more out of it than it really is? I would absolutely enjoy the heck out of seeing a Metal Gear Solid remake. And then you put Blue Point on there as well. Man, what they have been able to do. I mean, just look at Shadow of the Colossus. You don't even have to look at Demon Soul. Look at Shadow of the Colossus. What they were able to do with that, those guys do incredible work. So to have Metal Gear Solid in their hands to make the remake, good gosh, we would have something. We would have something awesome on our hands. But once again, we just got to stay tuned to see if this is true or not. And hopefully these details will be coming much sooner than later. But we're going to get into the final story this week. Now, I'm not sure if I covered this, but Sony Santa Monica Studio is hiring for a art director position. Now, here is the quote on Twitter that they left. They said, quote, "We are seeking an experienced art director for the development of a new unannounced title. If you've got what it takes to guide and inspire our team to deliver best-in-class visual quality, apply here." End of quote. So what do you guys think this could be? Now, they were talking about they had this canceled sci-fi IP that they were working on, but then God of War happened and that got canceled. So could they go back to that, or are they going to start a brand new IP? Because once again, we could have said, okay, this is just for God of War Ragnarok, but they made it a point to say that they're looking for a art director for the development of a new unannounced title. So this could be so interesting. I mean, here we have Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog was out there earlier this week. I think it was Neil Druckmann. He was talking about they would be interested in making a Punisher game, which would be marvelous. God, dog. Can you imagine Naughty Dog behind a Punisher game after we just saw what they were able to do with The Last of Us, the brutality of it all? Oh my gosh. Of course, I think that might be a pipe dream, but man, I would love to see that. That would be awesome. Those guys over there at Naughty Dog, they said they're hiring for a new project. So here it is. You got Naughty Dog and you got Sony, what did I say? Sony Santa Monica. Golly, they are hiring for another unannounced project. So here it is. We see that Sony, they have their studios rolling right now. And this is, like I said, Ragnarok is coming. Is it coming this year? I don't think so. And, man, I'm all mixed up right now. I'm just basically saying that these guys, it seems like they have a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, and I'm interested. I'm waiting for it, man. I'm here waiting to see what they're able to come up with. This is just awesome to hear. Hopefully, I doubt if we hear anything about what they're working on, or I would hope Naughty Dog would be a little sooner than later, because we heard that they were working on a sci-fi game in the background while The Last of Us 2 was being developed. They took a small team, allegedly, and had them working on this other project. So we'll have to see, man. But anyway, I'm rambling at this point. That is the end of the gaming news this week. And you know what? We're going to go ahead. We're going to transition into a little bit of video game theater this week, and I wanted to feature one of my favorite games from last generation. It was a game that man, I hold in high regard. It was fantastic. It really put Telltale on the map for me, outside of the what was it? The Dead, I'm forgetting the name of it. The one that they're most famous for, still on TV to this day. I'm forgetting the name of it, but yeah. The Wolf Among Us was incredible for me. That was the game that really put them on the map for me. Anyway, man, I'm rambling. Let me just go ahead and switch to this video game theater. God dog it. And we're going to be back right after this.
She's my wife, Bigby!
I told you! Stop! Leave it be! This is my fault! Please, no! I understand! No! Don't hurt him!
You ruined everything! She's my... What?
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. I tell you, that was one of my favorite scenes in The Wolf Among Us. If you guys haven't played that game, I highly recommend it. It was a fantastic game, and I'm just looking forward so much to the sequel. Hopefully we get some information about it coming up here in the upcoming month sometime this year. But if you guys haven't, once again, played The Wolf Among Us, absolutely fantastic. When I played that game, it really gave me a whole new respect for Telltale games. Because, I mean, good grief, between that and the Batman, a Telltale game, those two are phenomenal experiences, at least for me. And I would absolutely recommend you play either one of those whenever you get the chance. But, we are in the final section of the podcast, and it seems like I am never going to get back to that hour or less mark. So, golly, I guess I got to tighten up a little bit more. I don't know what's going on. But, and pardon me for this episode, man. I feel like I've been all over the place in this one. It's 12 o'clock at night while I'm recording this. I got to be up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So, I'm a little spaced right now, but let's go ahead. Let's just finish up, guys. So the question this week that I wanted to ask you, and you guys saw it, and, you know, we're just going to go over it officially here. Is Xbox or PlayStation's subscription best? Which one do you think is the better of the two? The Xbox with Xbox Live and Game Pass, or do you think that PlayStation with their subscription of PlayStation Plus and they have the other subscription that I can't think of, but they both have. Oh man, I'm yawning and I ain't even trying to cover it up. But they both have their pluses and minuses. And I was only asking this because when Microsoft was about to up theirs, there were a lot of people that were saying that how the heck are you going to up yours and you're not even offering anything? Whereas with PlayStation Plus, they're giving away, well, not giving away because you are paying for it, but they have a ton of triple A's in there with their service. They're giving away The Last of Us, Days Gone, God of War is in there. Detroit Become Human is another game that's in there. They have a lot of triple A games that they're giving with their PlayStation Plus service. So that compared to Xbox Live, and then if you want to sweeten the pot, you have Game Pass. I'm just curious, which one do you think is better? I would absolutely love to hear from you guys. I can't really talk to either because I'm not subscribed to either one. I don't play online, so I don't really have a reason to have them. And I like to own my games, so I don't have a need to get Xbox Game Pass. I'd rather own them. So I'm kind of out of this conversation, which is why I would just love to hear from you guys, from the people that were saying that, Microsoft, they shouldn't be upping it because they have nothing to offer. But they were saying that Sony, they could get away with it. Some people thought they could because they have the better value when it comes to their service. So that is my question to you guys. If you guys want to be a part of, like I said, the upcoming episode of listener feedback, which will be recorded on Wednesday, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is, of course, the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. I do have to make a correction. I don't know if it will be recorded on Wednesday. It'll probably more than likely be Thursday. So just keep that in mind. If the episode isn't up on Wednesday, it's because it's been delayed till Thursday because I'm probably going to be at work on Wednesday. So just keep that in the forefront of your mind. But I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and thank you guys again for rocking out with me, for hanging out at this hour and 16-minute mark of a podcast. It just means so much to me, though, guys. Having you guys here with the support is fantastic, and the numbers they continue to grow, man. So thank you all. And if you haven't checked out the listener feedback, check it out. Something was given away over there. Maybe one of you guys can benefit from it. I wish I had said that in the beginning of the show, but sorry about that. But anyway, until next time, before we wrap it up, I told you I'm all mixed up here, man. I'm half sleeping on the job as it is right now. So let me get the heck out of here. But before we officially get out of here, always remember, it is not about the consoles. It is about the games. And with that being said, until next time when we do it again, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.